evening, football fans, and welcome to the official reboot of 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your directory for all that is sports. What's going on, y'all? This is me, boy Larry B, preaching here live on a beautiful Wednesday evening. It is Wednesday, August 11th, 2021, and I'm joined here by my boy, man. He is host of Set Points. He is host of the SoCal Sports Show, and he, of course, is one of the COOs of IE Sports Radio, and a great friend of mine, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Taron Rodriguez. How you doing today, brother?
Hello, Larry B. How's it going? I am glad to be back. We are officially back, and I am so happy to be here when it comes to college football. Let's get it!
Here we go! Ladies and gentlemen, we got so much to get into tonight. Let's rock and roll, y'all. Hopefully you're ready to go, because we certainly are. Hold your hats. College football has returned here on IE Sports Radio, your directory for all that is sports. Welcome, football fans, or shall I say college football fans. Here we go. I am so freaking excited for the return of college football. There is literally nothing like it, and man, we are ready to go back live here on 3 and Out College Edition. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the official reboot of College Edition, of course. As we know, this show has had plenty of, trying to get redemption in there. However, things just didn't seem to pan out for a while. Kind of sucked, but it is what it is. And, well, guess what? We had a couple of years where we tried to get the show off the ground every now and again. Didn't seem to freaking work. And we ended up canceling the season or just not getting through it. I think this is the last 3 years. The first year, we got it going pretty much, and I missed a whole bunch of shows. It was just in time for the college, for the very end. I think that was my first year solo, if not Taron was with me. Then the next year, I tried to bring on, we had a lot of different people on the show. Remember, Bama Bo was on the show. We had Blake Henley, of course, Taron, my boy Christian Espinoza. That, of course, is the drop that I got to remake now with Taron that I made a couple years back. Then Taron and I tried to redo this last year, and it wasn't happening. COVID happened. So I honestly think this show was like 4 years in the making of trying to get this thing going. If I'm wrong, please correct me. It might be 5 years, Taron. But regardless, man, this is like the reboot, and I'm not going to give it no season title, nothing. This is season 1, because we're going to do it right this year. We are, of course, bringing you the best in college football, and this is awesome, you guys. We're bringing you the absolute best in college football every single week from every single college outlet you can possibly get. That's right, y'all. The CCCAA, which of course is its very own junior college league and college football, covering all of Southern and Northern California. In junior college, I'm very proud to be an RCC Tiger. Played back in 2017 and 18, and a little bit in 11, and then of course Division 3, which we'll be talking about. I played at the University of Laverne for one season. Division 3, Division 2, the FCS, and Division 1 Single A, which of course is the FBS. Division 1 AA is the FCS, and of course the NAIA. We are covering all of that and the NJCAA. So 7 different outlets of college football, different steps, if you will. Just amazing college football all around. This is the show for you. If you love college football, my goodness, this is the show. If you seriously are in love with college all the way around. I mean, we're not just talking about the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the USCs, the UCLAs, the Oregons, the Nebraskas, the Oklahomas, the Texases. No, we are talking the North Dakota States, which seriously needs to just go single A already. I mean, seriously. Okay, Appalachian State. Just kidding. No, actually, they're a lot more dominant than Appalachian State was in Double A. But regardless, we're talking Sam Houston State, which of course we're talking about that tonight. Great victory for them this year in the spring. Kind of weird, but it is what it is. Thanks, COVID. But we're talking plenty. We got that going on. We got the South Dakota State. We got the Jacks. We got all that good stuff going on in Division 1 Double A. We're also going to be talking Division 2 for all of you Texas for all of you TAMU, Texas A&M Corpus Christi out there, okay, all you fans out there, the love in West Florida, West Alabama, hint, hint, not always does that major NFL talent come from Division 1. West Alabama is the home of the Cheetah himself, okay, that's right. Guess who the Cheetah is from the NFL? Yeah, one guess, you guys, one guess, Tyreek Hill. Okay, so I'm just saying, Villanova, Brian Westbrook, remember the Eagles? Yeah, he played for Villanova, Division 2. Okay, guys, so what I'm saying is we cover that. Division 3, that's where I played, but University of Laverne. But we got University of Laverne. Redlands, we have Hobart, which, of course, Ali Marpet came from. If you don't know who that is, you better get to know him. He's the freaking right or left guard, one of the guards for Tom Brady. That's right, with the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know I said for Tom Brady, but he walks for Tom Brady. But yeah, so I'm just saying, you guys, we got all of that good stuff. The Triple CAA, where lots of talent comes from, playing here in California. The Riverside, got to give big ups, of course, my Riverside Community College Tigers. I'm a proud Tiger. Restore the Roar, winning their first national championship I guess you can call it last season, but in 2019, of course, talking San Mateo, talking San Francisco Community College, City College, talking Laney for those of you who are fans of Last Chance U, of course, talking all that good stuff. The NJCAA, well, that's East Mississippi itself, and plenty of great schools like Independence of Kansas. Yes, we are talking all of the NAIA. Yes, there's plenty of great football in NAIA. Morningside football, great football. Also, we're talking, I'm telling you, just great football all around, you guys. So we are talking all of that good stuff every week now, of course, every Wednesday. Our show did get moved tonight. We will originally be at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but today has been a day, okay? That's all I'm going to get into, but it has been really, really tough. But regardless, I got home, Taryn was still available. We talked about it earlier in the day, and this is our late edition, if you will. If we do have to revert to this time, sometimes we will. But of course, we only got an hour because we got Marcus Lowe's Great coming up after us. Big ups to everybody who was on earlier today. Pretty busy day at IE Sports Radio, the show that never sleeps, with Mr. Pierre Moss and Harrison Glazer earlier on today, talking all New York sports. And then Beantown, man, got big ups to my boy Beantown Brandon, talking on Titletown Sports Talk. Of course, talking all Boston sports, but this is just about an hour ago. We're live now on 30 Out College Edition, and coming up right after us at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time and 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for all you all you people who love to go to sleep pretty late and love your combat sports. If not, you're pretty sure you hear it on the podcast version. But Marcus Lowe's Great coming up right after us. Coming on in, talking all combat sports. So anyway, with that said, you guys, that is our introduction for this show, and we are ready to rock and roll. So with that said, Taryn, I gave the long introduction. What do we got going on, brother? How have you been? Before we get into any football talk, man, how have you been, man?
Well, I have been good, Larry. I am still thriving and making sure I don't get COVID. So far, so good. I am fully vaccinated, but I digress on that. But for the most part, I've been good, and I'm ready for some college football this season because it's been a long time coming for 3 and Out College Edition. But I'm so glad to be back with you. I couldn't be more proud to do this with you. We are going to tear apart this whole thing.
Oh, we are, and I am so excited, man. This this show, as I always say, man, I love college football more than I will ever love the NFL. That's no diss on the NFL. I love the NFL too. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's just, there's nothing like college. I will always love college sports more than I will ever love professional sports. It's just, you're going to hear that cliche, that's where the heart is. Well, it really is where the heart is. I'm not trying to say that nobody in the NFL or in professional sports doesn't have heart, because they do. They're there for a reason. But it's just the fact that, you know, these guys are fighting to get on professional teams, and sometimes you forget sometimes, and that's not everybody, but, just saying. So with that said, you guys, for the next hour, like I said, we are talking plenty of football coming your way. Kickoff is coming up, and by the way, we're also talking high school sports, you guys. So high school football, that is. So my apologies. We're also going to be bringing that into the mix, because we got a lot of recruits coming on in from, of course, from those high schools, and this is going to be awesome. Taryn, of course, a product of Orange County in Southern California. Me, I'm not too far away. I'm about a good 40, not even, like 30 some miles, almost 40 miles away, as he's in Orange County. I'm in the Inland Empire in Riverside. So, I mean, this guy right here, or what, Riverside County, that is. So him and I aren't too far from one another, and we both know a thing or two about these strong teams down here in Southern California. Of course, we're talking about the Corona Centennial, the football factory, the evil empire, as many people may say. But Coach Logan does a great job over there. We're talking, of course, the powerhouse. There's no other word for it. Of than Mater Dei and the juggernaut of St. John Bosco. We're talking about these big colleges. We're also talking about the IMG Academy on the East Coast, and we're in Maryland. We're talking some of the biggest, baddest schools around, you guys. We're gonna be giving you your dibs, of course. The legendary De La Salle up north. I mean, we're talking plenty of football. So once again, you guys love football. You love Bishop Gorman in Nevada. You love that big-time St. Louis high school football in Honolulu, Hawaii. Yes, you are going to be listening to this show all season long. At least we hope you are. So big ups to everybody in the chat room, by the way. Beantown Brandon, good to have you back, brother. Didn't hear your show, but I got to hear the podcast coming up, man, the podcast version. Big ups to my boy Mike Pett, of course. Didn't hear a show either this week, man. It's been a busy week. But so let's wind about sports in the house with Mike Pett and Beantown Brandon in the house with the Titletown Sports Talk, and of course my boy Taryn Rodriguez, man. So with that said, tonight we're not even taking no commercial breaks, you guys. This is going to be one full hour of football. We got to get into so much. We have an introduction to make basically next week. So here's how it's going to go. This show was supposed to go live last week. I got so caught up. I started school. I started back. Subbing, starting my credential coming up this year, so I'll be a full-on teacher in about 2 years, so yay. But yeah, I got that going on. Work is just, of course, busy with subbing and everything, and I got that going on, and it's just a lot, you guys. Of course, managing the station. I'm starting my credential coming up on the 30th. Of course, got that going on, and just a lot, you guys. There's a lot of things going on in life, so we didn't get to the 4th. However, we are here on the 11th. Next week, the 18th will be live, and the 25th will be the very first week of football, at least in the FCS. So if there is any football on the 21st, which I think there might be for the FCS, not sure, but we are going to be talking about all this good stuff in college football, of course, high school football coming up. But with that said, tonight is basically the introduction. We're going to go ahead and recap a lot of what happened last year and the year before that, what COVID did last year, and a whole bunch of crap going down. And then, of course, we're talking about the, lots more to come next week. So we'll be getting on into the previews for the for all of these Power 5 conferences. Sorry, y'all. Got a lot going on over here, too. Got a new little kitten. She's running around like crazy over here, so I'm trying to keep an eye on her. She's tearing apart the apartment. Just kidding. Anyway, so we're going to get that recap coming up tonight. On next week's show, we're going to try to get to all the conferences we can, but for sure next week is going to be our preview of the Power 5 conferences in D1. Next year, we really got to try and get to everything, but if we have a little time, we're going to jump over to some, D3, D2, FCS. We'll get into, some of that good stuff, but for sure, at least the Power 5s, because we know a lot of you come here for that, which is fine, of course, and, NAIA and all that good stuff. CCAA and NCAA to follow. But yeah, we'll get all that, trying to get all that in on the 18th, at least the Power 5, and then the pick'ems and all that good stuff We'll start on the 25th, and then we're going to continue every Wednesday. Once again, every Wednesday right here at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So with that said, Taryn, let's start things off with some high school football, man. You actually had some really big news about high school. Last year was crazy, man. I mean, so much happened. CIF over here in California, I mean, just a lot. Some schools didn't participate. Some schools didn't. I mean, some schools did. Just all this craziness. But you had some really cool news about, let's see here, about Mater Dei Centennial. Please, man, fill us in on pretty much everything you got for high school football, man.
So, unfortunately for Corona Centennial, they were supposed to play Mater Dei, I believe, not this week, but next week. But unfortunately, due to Corona Centennial contracting COVID within, I think it was a staff worker, and then two of their players coming into contact with said staff workers or something like that, they unfortunately had to halt their practices, and they don't meet the minimum number of practices in order to play their game against Mater Dei next week. So that game has unfortunately been canceled. The two could actually still scrimmage, I believe, either this week or next week, but their game is off, unfortunately. So Mater Dei has not had a lot of luck with their non-league opponents, as they've had to cancel 3 of their non-league opponents because of COVID outbreaks within those programs. They only have 2 non-league games, but one of those non-league games is a big important one, as they face Duncanville on August 27th, which is the powerhouse team from Texas, and everyone's going to probably be tuned into that. But the thing for Mater Dei is they're not going to have a game prior, so they hopefully can get in a scrimmage either this week or next week. But for Mater Dei, they're probably going to be coming in cold. There's even speculation saying that Mater Dei could play its league rival Servite, which is a darn good program, in a non-league game next week, because Servite doesn't really have a game that week the same day Mater Dei does. So it's a possible food for thought possibility, depending on what Bruce Rawlinson and Troy Thomas says. So we'll have to see what happens, but I do feel bad for Corona Centennial. That would have been a great primetime matchup. Well, maybe not ultimate prime time, but it would have been so great to see that matchup. So there's that little matchup gone, but hopefully both of those programs can get something going. I would like to at least see a scrimmage, because both those programs are one of the best in California, and I imagine Corona Centennial is going to be up there in the Division I standings. CIF has also reconfigured its playoff structure. So it's, instead of going by division, it's going to go by strength of schedule and strength of wins and losses and so forth. So, for example, a team in Division 8 could have a really good record with standout wins, and they could get put into Division 3 or 4, which I guess that balances out the playoff equity. So there's not one dominant team in one division, and then everyone else is just playing second or third banana. So that's quite the fascinating aspect. There wasn't any CIF playoffs last year because of COVID and whatnot, and they had to play their games in the spring, and because they couldn't get their games to the point where they could have a full season, they just had to play the league games and at least one non-league game, and then that was the season. So there's that right there for CIF. And in California, we actually had 2 players commit to Oklahoma. They both hail from Los Alamitos High School. One is Malachi Nelson, the number 3 recruit according to CBS Sports, and he's the number 3 recruit according to CBS Sports, and he's the number 2 quarterback of the class of 2003 or 2023. And then the other player is Makai Lemon, who is the wide receiver for Los Alamitos. That's the guy who Malachi throws it to. He's committed to Oklahoma. So this kind of makes me wonder, could Oklahoma be the new Alabama? Because they're getting some good recruits. And honestly, Lincoln Riley is just a darn good head coach. Not trying to say anything about Nick Saban, but Lincoln Riley does a lot of great things at Oklahoma. So it's kind of a puzzler if Oklahoma could be rising through the rankings. And remember, Oklahoma and Texas are joining the SEC in the coming future. I think 2025 And it's not just in football, but in all sports. So you kind of have to wonder if Oklahoma's starting to become more of a hotbed for football. So just something to ponder over. But I do congratulate Malachi Nelson and Makai Lemon for committing to the University of Oklahoma. I wish them the best, and they are only juniors. That's the scary thing. So they still got to win some big games for the Griffins this year. And I'm going to be witnessing the Griffins this season as will be reporting for Sunset Rewind, which covers the league that Los Alamitos is in. So that's pretty much all I got for the high school scene.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks as always, Sarah. We've been talking a lot more high school football. We got to move along here. But I do want to get the top 25 from Max Preps, by the way. Once again, maxpreps.com. Getting this top 25 out right now. It was submitted 3 days ago. So, from 25-21, if any of these teams are in your region, be ready, you guys. We're going to be talking plenty about them. We have the Ryan Raiders of Denton, Texas, got rounding out 25. Looks like Corner Canyon, the Chargers. There you go, Taryn. Out of Draper, Utah. Got the high school Chargers going on there. In 24, the 23rd spot, South Lake Carroll Dragons out of South Lake, Texas. Congratulations there, number 23. Next up, we have St. Xavier out of Cincinnati. Definitely, I've heard of them before. Had a coached a couple years under a coach at my previous high school, Paris High, and I remember watching a lot of their videos running that 3-3-5 defense. Big time stuff over there, so they're doing really, really well. And they're number 22 in the nation. St. Joseph's Prep Hawks out of Philadelphia, holding down number 21. 20, Servite, of course, coming out of Anaheim, California. You know a thing or two about them, huh, Taryn? We got them Servite Friars, man, at number 20. Katy High School. Man, the Tigers, definitely a powerhouse in Texas. That number 19, Chandler. I think we know a thing or two about Chandler in Arizona, Taryn. What NFL player came from Chandler?
You got me there, actually.
Actually, a lot of NFL players came from, from Chandler. But, yeah, the most recent that I can remember, or at least I can try to remember, was Brett Hundley, actually, from UCLA, came from Chandler. I looked up a list right now. Cameron Jordan, also Marcus Wheaton, Deion Jordan. A couple players to name right there, but yeah, some pretty big-time names there coming out of Chandler High School in Arizona right now. They're currently holding down number 18, Center Grove out of Greenwood, Indiana. So we'll throw some love there to High Octane Entertainment with Mr. Justin Lahr. I know he will be, he's probably, he'll be maybe talk about them this year. De La Salle, the mighty De La Salle, and the game stands tall. Of course, we know amazing coaches there, and they've been for quite some time, of course. Concord, California, up north. That is Miss Gina G's territory with repping the NorCal Sports. Central High School, the Rockets out of Miami. Well, I got to have some Florida schools in here, right? Holding down number 15. By the way, De La Salle was 16. Duncanville, as you mentioned already, the Duncanville Panthers out of Duncanville, Texas. Definitely one of the powerhouses of the country. Bummed they won't be playing Centennial. We have North Shore. Plenty of NFL talent has come out of North Shore in Houston, Texas. Currently holding down number 13. Bishop Gorman, as we mentioned already. Another powerhouse in the country and probably the biggest, baddest school in all of Nevada. But this is in Las Vegas, of course. Las Vegas, Nevada, Bishop Gorman. Next up, Bergen Catholic out of Oradell, New Jersey. So that's actually in Pierre Moss's neck of the woods over there in New Jersey. And then, of course, that's number 11. And then breaking the top 10, Collins Hill Eagles out of Suwanee, Georgia, I believe, breaking the top 10 here. St. Francis Academy, Baltimore. We all know a thing or two about this team. They were top 2, top 5 a couple of years back, man. Out of Baltimore, definitely a tough school there. Next up, American Heritage out of Plantation. I don't butcher the name, but Florida. They have they're holding number 8. Next up, Grayson out of Loganville, Georgia. The Grayson Rams currently at number 7. St. Thomas Aquinas out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, another huge powerhouse. And then we have right now the current top 5. Thompson High School, the Thompson Warriors out of Alabaster, Alabama. These Alabama schools should be. I mean, come on now. They got the best university, of course, one of the best universities in the country. One of the best programs. These high schools need to get with it, man, and they need to start getting their homegrown talent there. Them and Auburn, I'm sure. Don't know where it's closer to, but Westlake, of course, big time football there. Westlake out of Austin, Texas. Let's see here. Yes, the Westlake Chaparrals. Next up, the IMG Academy. We have here the IMG Academy. Oh, I'm sorry, no, number 3 actually right now. St. John Bosco, the Braves. Holding down number 3. Number 2, as we mentioned, the infamous IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said IMG in Baltimore earlier. I mixed it up with St. Francis Academy. And then, of course, number one, a team that Tara knows all too well in mighty Orange County, in Santa Ana, actually. We have the Modern Day Monarchs holding down number 1. So that'll do it for the top 25 rankings here, courtesy of Max Preps. Before we dive off into some Triple C AA football, any comments there on that top 25, Taryn?
Not necessarily. I think that's a pretty straightforward top 25, and definitely do keep an eye on Servite. They have one of the top recruits. His first name is so tough to pronounce. Which is why everyone calls him T-Mac. Like, if I sent you his name, you and I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce it. It's like Oa something, Nicoloman. So we just call him T-Mac, and he's a darn good football player at Servite. He plays tight end, so...
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Taryn. We'll be definitely getting to that coming up, man. Lots more. Big ups to the chat room, by the way. Big ups to Mr. Davidson Crooks. Lots of Alabama football, I'm sure, going on over there, as well as Mr. Mike Pat says, speaking of recruits, FSU has 3 of the top 40 recruits for top 22, or sorry, for 2022, according to ESPN. Woot, hey, good job there. And then we have here, he says, Brett Hundley, nice, yeah. I don't know if that was sarcastic or not, but I do know that, I'm really excited for a lot of these youngsters coming out of these schools, man. It is great. So, with that said, moving on to the Triple C AA, we're, of course, talking college, community college football. Really nothing to get into here. As a matter of fact, Taryn, I don't even see anything going down right now, man. I'm on the website as we speak, and I don't even see anything. Like, there's no updates. There's hardly anything here. So, realistically, I don't even know what's going on with this year. I hope we have some football. I know they had some spring games played, and it was just kind of a... I hate to say this, but last year college football was a crap show. I mean, it really was, and it's a bummer. But I don't see anything here. I don't see anything scheduled on the cccaa.com. So with that said, Taryn, you got anything to add for this? Next week, we're definitely going to get more on it and see what we can get. But quick and dirty, man, the Diet Coke version. Anything here that you've seen for the Triple C AA this year?
I haven't. All I could tell you is that last spring they tried to squeeze in some games, but they couldn't, so they just had to squeeze in scrimmages, which I guess that it was good for the players to get back on the field and scrimmage teams. I know Golden West and Orange Coast College scrimmaged one another. I don't know if any other teams scrimmaged one another just because of the COVID protocols and whatnot. This is kind of irrelevant, but Saddleback has kind of changed its name from the Gauchos to the Wildcats, I want to say. So, I don't know why. It's probably because of the Gaucho, I guess, not being a good mascot name, but I don't know. So, either way, they're now the Saddleback Wildcats.
Okay, well, we got a little bit of news here from the Triple C AA website. Speaking of Saddleback, Kerry Crabb will take the new head coaching job at Saddleback. Looks like Reedley will have a new coach, Rob Hartenfels. We have here former NFL coach and Fullerton Hornet, great Jim Fassel, passes, so rest in peace to him. Rest in everlasting peace, sir. My deepest condolences. Our deepest condolences here to your family. We have, let's see here, another new head coach. So a lot of new head coaches, man. Pasadena City College, we'll name Robert Tucker as our head coach. Citrus College, actually. We're playing against them and Pasadena in when I played at RCC. Let's see here. Hayashi, so let's see here. Coach Ponciano, I believe, don't picture his name, but steps down, and Hayashi will be the new interim head coach. And then Antelope Valley, unfortunately, will mourn the loss of Brent Carter. So once again, our thoughts are with you guys. Once again, our deepest condolences to the Carter family. It's Carder, by the way. And may he rest in everlasting peace. So a few things here going on, but we'll keep more tabs on the NJCAA as it comes. So going up to the with the CCCAA as it comes. Going over to the NJCAA. Okay, Taryn, there's really nothing here either. Last year sucked. I mean, it was really nothing really to get into, but you did send me a link earlier. Pretty cool link. I definitely want to go ahead and pass the mic over to you, man. So what do we got going on now in the NJCAA?
So what I found was that there's going to be like a new little format and a new little like equity thing. It's basically kind of like the high school thing where they're just trying to like be fair to like some of the other teams. They're not trying to like have teams like one team be like superior than the other. So I guess that's a good thing considering obviously you don't want one team dominating, kind of like North Dakota State with the FCS. That's North Dakota State, right? That was the team that dominated the FCS.
Yeah, the Bison.
Yeah. So, according to this, they have changed the structure of football to flourish at the 2-year level, and it basically includes Division I and Division III. So, in other words, I think they could be adding more divisions and whatnot, and just trying to balance out. They're trying to put the elite teams with the elite teams, the good teams with the good teams, and the solid teams with the solid teams, because there isn't really such thing as a bad team. I mean, every team is good, considering all those college players are at the college level because of all the dedication they put in back when they were in high school and all their dedication and craft and knowledge to the sport of football. So, yeah.
Well, definitely keep on the lookout. We had last year, of course, in the CCCAA, as I mentioned earlier, the Riverside Tigers, still the reigning champions since there was no 2020 season. Sorry. And, of course, in the NJCAA, we did have just last year, or in 2021, actually, we actually did have a championship game. And my apologies, it was weird. I don't know. It's just kind of odd. But there was actually, I believe, a named champion. And I'm looking here right now, courtesy of Wikipedia. And let me see here. I did see that. Oh, wait a minute. Let me take a quick look here. Because I just want to see a few things real fast just to make sure. I did see a name right now. And if I'm not mistaken, that was Hutchinson Community College, which I don't know. The actual game was played. It says 2021, so I don't know if that was earlier this spring. But regardless, we'll catch up more with that next week. But yeah, I mean, just kind of odd. I mean, really, it's just last year sucked, like I said, and it kind of just ruined a lot of things. But it is what it is. Last year, it looks like yes, I remember this game. Yes, there actually was a NJCAA championship game. That's right. That's how to show you how far the loop we are. Our apologies. Yes, Snow College, by the way, out of Utah. They would defeat them. Hutchinson would defeat them. This was sometime earlier this year. But yes, this was pretty big, as Hutchinson, the Dragons, will earn their first ever, by the way, championship, if I'm not mistaken here. And yeah, for the first time, so it says here, out of Little Rock, and they would win 29-27 over Snow. So, I mean, crazy. I don't know how things really went. They had a perfect record here, courtesy of Google at 8-0. So it goes to show you once again, it was just a crap show last year because 8 games. I mean, USC played 5 games, Taryn? I mean, it was ridiculous. So a lot of these junior colleges, do you think anybody else was going to play anything different? So, so there goes that. And then, anything more to add for the NJCAA? Because we're going to start kicking it into the NAIA right now, Taryn. But anything more to add for this?
Nope, I didn't really hear anything about that, and I was kind of disappointed that they didn't have a season. But again, it was what it was. We can't really we can't blame them for not having a season because COVID shut down everything. So I'm glad everything's starting to come nearly back to normal. So there's that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course, Taryn sent me a link earlier, jumping on into some, at least the 4-year schools. The NAIA, as we know, of course, a equivalent to D2 at least is what they say. It is pretty much, equivalent to NCAA Division II. And yeah, Taryn, I mean, Lindsey Wilson, they got it done this year. They'll defeat Northwestern out of Iowa. This is their first championship their first title in history. So pretty cool. An 11-0 season, pretty awesome for these guys. I remember seeing Lindsey Wilson in the running in the playoffs for a couple of years prior to this, but Morningside did it for the first time a couple of years back, and wow, Lindsey Wilson does it as well. What you got for this one, man? What do you think?
Yeah, so Lindsey Wilson winning his first championship was phenomenal. They dominated in that game. They won 45-13, which that's quite the blowout when it came to the championship game. It was a semi-quiet first half. It was still possible that Northwestern could have won. They were only down 17-7 in the first half. I say 17-7 loosely because it could have possibly been. It's still a manageable deficit to come back from. It's just that they didn't really score too much, and Lindsey Wilson scored early and often because that's what dominant teams do. So, yeah, they scored the first 2 touchdowns. That 10-point lead was a 24-point lead, and they never got anywhere closer than 18. So that goes to show you that Lindsey Wilson was just really, really good. So, and it's great that they won their first championship. So, Kentucky football fans, you have another team to root for other than the Wildcats.
Absolutely. And Taryn, no D3 or D2 this season. Talk about that real fast.
So they canceled the season, unfortunately. I believe they canceled all Division II and Division III sports as they released an announcement via, I think it was August or early September, saying that there were going to be no Division II or III championships because of COVID, and that was quite the punch to the face. But as the season gets closer, it's looking like there is going to be Division II and Division III sports. Considering, well, it looks like COVID is starting to go away, but then we're hearing news about the Delta variants and whatnot. So again, we can only hope that nothing gets canceled. And before we head on over, I also did hear that a part of Hawaii is postponing its sports to I think it's football season to September 24th. So, but this was back in the high school scene. But it's just a postponement. It's not canceling anything. So, but other than that, it looks like Division II and Division III are still on for this season, barring any setbacks and whatnot. So all we could do is hope.
That is for sure. And Darren, yeah, man, I mean, there is just so much to be thankful for. Thank you, God, of course. As I always say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Big ups to the man above, y'all, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, nothing is possible. And, of course, my sports radio, none of us, none of any of us, none of anything is possible. So big ups to the man upstairs. And, of course, we can only look to him to help us out in this tough time. But it looks like, by the grace of God, things are coming back, and we're getting a little bit better. So, let's just keep on doing our thing, and let's keep praying and stay strong in faith, you guys. Stay strong in the faith, you guys. So, with that said, Well, there you go. So we'll see. I mean, my goodness, a couple of years back, Taryn, man, the last we have of Division Two or Division Three, actually, man, the Stag Bowl was absolutely amazing. I don't want to spend too much time on this. We really can't afford it because we only have like 20 minutes left. We got to still get to the Major Cup, but man, or to the major stuff. The higher divisions in college football. But man, a couple of years back, or actually, let me see here, 2 years ago in 2019, man, we got a treat. We got about as treat could get. In 2000, the Mighty had fallen, by the way. Mary Hardin Baylor and Mount Union would both fall out after they would host the last two previous or they would, play in the last two previous games. North Central, man, they would play Wisconsin and Whitewater, and North Central out of Illinois. This team, man, I guess amazing job. We actually had a record broken by their quarterback, and I gotta get his name, I forgot. But just what an amazing job by that team that year, and just it was awesome. I mean, seeing this team just do what they did. It was actually his last, and now I really have to get his name because it was so cool. Seeing him, he actually made history. And on his very last throw of his career at that game, and it was just amazing to see that happen. I mean, just what a job. And just what a season by them. And unfortunately, we didn't get it. We didn't get anything last year, which sucks. But I do want to go ahead and get this in here, man, because quarterback Brock Rudder actually, and he will break his record. I forgot it was like all time, I think, passing yards in Division III. And wouldn't it was just awesome. He throws it up, final pass of the game for him, and it's actually the touchdown winning pass. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, actually no, I think they were destroying. If I'm not mistaken, they actually destroyed Wisconsin Whitewater 41-14. The Cardinals went on to win it, but man, just so cool. And I forgot who the pass was, but my good, or it was two. They said there was a good friend of his on the team, but just such a cool thing, and that's why Division III, none of these teams should be left out. But anyway, with that said, Darren, so just and then of course after that, West Florida. We talked about that school, the Argonauts. They've only been a freaking team for 4 or 5 years since 2016, and they went to the championship in their second year in 2017. They lost it, and then they went back a couple years later and they freaking won, Taryn. They won. They defeated, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Minnesota. I know they're the Mavericks, but I mean, just what a job by this team, and just what a job. They would defeat, by the way, it was, let me see here, I got to take a look here. I think it was Manitoba, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a Minnesota team. But yeah, man, let me take a quick look here. It was Minnesota State defeating them. So I think it's the Mavericks or the Bulls or whatnot. But they won it all a couple years back. So just some cool stories there out of those lower divisions. But yeah, Terry, before we move on to the FCS, anything to add for that cool stuff right there, man, and why people should really pay attention to D3 and D2?
I don't, but I am looking forward to this up-and-coming season. I think it's going to be a great coming out party for everybody, just because for those that didn't have a season, and I want to say there were like some scrimmages, because I imagine when everything was starting to open up in like April or May, I think everyone was starting to like get back on the field, but I can't fully confirm that, but I think it's going to be a coming out party for Division II and Division III, and it makes you wonder, why did they cancel Division II and Division III but not the FCS and the FBS? I mean, I kind of understand why, just because the NCAA needs to make its money. Otherwise, it's because that's what it's all about. It's all about the money. I listened to the song as well. So, but I still think that the NCAA kind of did Division II and III dirty. So I'm just glad they're going to get a season this year, barring anything.
Same here, Taryn. So, moving on into the FCS, last year, man, how about this? Sam Houston State would defeat South Dakota State. North Dakota State I think they won like 8 championships in 9 years. They produced guys like, I don't know, Carson Wentz, Easton Stick, okay, in the NFL today. And let's not forget, of course, the young man that was drafted into the NFL just a few months ago, which also led the Bison at the quarterback position. Everyone is very excited to see what he can do. And of course, that is Trey Lance going to the San Francisco 49ers. So, yeah, they would fall off last year, and their rivals, actually, the Jacks, would go on and play in the championship. However, they would come up short as Sam Houston State, the team where a player that we were really high on a couple of years ago, and now he's doing great things for the Saints, but Travion Davenport played for, and the Bearcats will win their first ever championship, 23-21 over the South Dakota State Jacks. How about that, man? I know that was last year in the weird spring deal we just had a few months ago. But yeah, man, anything to add for that?
Well, I'll be honest. I think Texas has definitely been a hotbed for not only high school football, but college football, too. Mm-hmm. And Sam Houston football really put itself on the map. And now I think it'll give, athletes an alternate decision to go to other than going to, maybe Texas Tech, et cetera, et cetera. So I got to give props to Sam Houston. And obviously, isn't South Dakota State in the same division as North Dakota State by chance? Yeah. So for them to overtake North Dakota State and then make it all the way to the championship game is still impressive. But I got to tip my hat to Sam Houston State. Absolutely amazing accomplishment for them, and they are number one in the current power rankings or the early preseason rankings. So, yeah.
Well, big ups to them, man. They definitely did a lot. Got to earn it, and yeah, great stuff. So, with that said, and then there was the FBS. Last year, COVID literally turned the FBS into just BS. I mean, seriously, it was so stupid. I love college football, but Taryn, it was so hard to watch. I wasn't even into it, man. I wasn't. I didn't really care. I didn't. I was into it, but then I wasn't, but then I was, but then I wasn't. And, of course, we understand the NCAA did their best. There was the good old college football playoff, which, of course, I don't think anybody's ever going to be happy with unless we have a giant tournament, which we don't know if that'll ever happen. But, look, overall, man, I don't know. It was just a weird season, but a cool season capped off. Alabama, of course, defeating Ohio State. Alabama does it again, winning their 50 millionth freaking title. But look, overall, just great stuff. Okay, good stuff. We know Alabama is absolutely dominant, and they're gonna continue to be dominant. Of course, Ohio State still being Ohio State. Overall, just a weird season. USC, I think they only played 5 games. It was, dude. Can you sum up Division I for us last year?
Yeah, so first of all, Notre Dame actually played in the conference. They weren't independent, which that eventually backfired because they lost the ACC championship game to the one and only Clemson, which they actually beat, but Clemson didn't have Trevor Lawrence because he came into contact with someone with COVID-19, so he had to sit out that game. So there was that, and also, Ohio State upended Clemson in the semifinals, so that was also a thing as well. And as always, Alabama dominated. But I would like to see the playoff expanded. I think everyone would. I think either 8 teams should partake in it, maybe 12. I think 16 might be pushing it a little, but I think it would be a much better format than having just only 4 teams, because the margin of error for those teams would basically be limited if they want to make the playoffs. So I think we kind of need to see an expansion of it, and it really stinks, but it is what it is. So there's that. And thankfully, everyone did get to got on board with the whole season. Thankfully, everyone from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten was able to get on board and have a season, because there was speculation that there might be a spring season for the teams that didn't partake in the fall season? And how would they structure a championship for that? Give it like a NIT feel or something like that? Either way, I'm just glad. I'm glad we got a season, but I kind of felt a little watered down, if you ask me. So there was that. And then obviously, you mentioned USC. They kind of, unfortunately, had quite the interesting Pac-12 season. They unfortunately lost in the Pac-12 championship game to Oregon, but Oregon took the place of Washington because Washington had a COVID outbreak, and they didn't want to crown USC the champion because champions don't get crowned that way. So, yeah, it was quite the upside-down season for the FBS last year.
It was. And gosh dang it, Taryn. I can tell you right now, I can't wait till you post this up. I'm going to send you, I got to get the information for the Twitter login for the 3 and Out College Edition Twitter. But, dude, you sent me the coolest picture. Nebraska. The Cornhuskers, man. And so they got a new uniform in town that actually has the red overalls.
Actually, Larry, that I was going to mention that. For those that are looking at that football uniform, it's actually fake. They're not going to have Nebraska's not going to have that. People are actually believing it, and Nebraska fans are actually making fun of it because they were describing it as like an apron on a cookout or something like that, or they were describing that the player's wearing that as Super Mario with a power-up mushroom. And I was like, at first I thought this was real, but then someone I guess decided to post clickbait and whatnot. It was pretty funny, so I gotta give a tip of the cap to the guy that tried to debate everybody. He debated everybody. So.
Oh, dude.
Those uniforms look pretty funny. It really does look like a Mario with a power-up mushroom.
That was pretty funny, man. But, yeah, so with that said, Taryn, last year, and I love what Mike says here in the chat room, a hot mess. That's exactly what college football was last year. And I'm just so happy to have it back this year. I know you are as well. We're going to get on it and really get it. And, overall, we're looking for some great football. This show, I'm glad we had a nice slow-paced recap type of show. We're going to be off in about 8 minutes here, but overall, a good wrap-up. Taryn, it's just great to have college football back, man. I mean, we're really excited. We're going to be finding out lots more in the coming week, for sure, about what's going on with the CCCAA and the NJCAA and all those good things going on. And, seeing what's going on with some high school football. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, you guys. Let's just keep praying. Things are going to work out, and, things will work out, and we'll get there. But we got whatever football tidbits information we can get. We're definitely going to deliver it to you. And if you have not followed, by the way, the Twitter account, we don't have a big following just yet, but we're definitely going to make this a Twitter account. This is hard for me to manage a lot of accounts. I got the 3 and Out account, I got my account, I got the IE Sports Radio account, I got the 3 and Out College Edition account. And it's just a lot to do. But we're definitely going to make this a lot bigger and better, this Twitter account. So give us a follow at 3 and Out, all spelled out, 3 and Out, CEIE. Of course, give us a follow. Taryn will be on there soon, as well as myself. Of course, just posting. And now with some fun, talking all this college football, getting some great retweets in there, and just getting some great football news. Of course, updates on the show and what's coming up that week, and of course all throughout the season, just talking plenty of pure college football. If you love college football, that is going to be the place to be, and of course this is the place to be for your college football show. There's plenty of other great ones out there, I'm sure, but none like this. Alright, so that's all there is to it, and no, that's not arrogant, we're just... Okay, it's a little arrogant, just kidding. But no, we can say, we love our football, and Taryn and I are going to deliver it to you as best as we can. So you rank us where you want to rank us, but we definitely love what we do here, and we're excited for that. So lots to come this year. Mike mentioned his Florida State Seminoles earlier, and yeah, we'll be talking plenty of ACC, plenty of everything. So next week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to get the a little bit of a recap, of course, or not recap, but we're going to get some rankings in. We're going to be talking and previewing all the Power Fives. We'll, of course, deliver information of all the others, the NJCAA, CCCAA, the NAIA, Division III, Division II, and Division I AA, the FCS. But we're also going to be talking not a whole bunch in depth, but we're definitely going to get into a good preview of all the Power 5 conferences, the Pac-12, the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and, of course, can't forget about the SEC. Almost forgot a couple seconds. See, I almost forgot. But yeah, so we're going to talk about all of those next week, kind of getting you in for that. If you want lots more in-depth, because, of course, Taryn and I only got an hour here, but check out our boy Seth Eves, man. Him and I forgot who else he goes live with, but they talk plenty of great college football over on USRN. It's just like little previews they got, like showcases and previews, but great stuff with Seth Eves, man. I can listen to that and tune in, show love there, but definitely great stuff. And there you go, man. So go ahead on over to USRN and catch more of that. But next week you'll hear our brand, of course. It'll be quick and dirty, but we're definitely going to get the best research we can get to make some good hard hits and some great points for next year. For this coming year in the previews. But with that said, Taryn, man, what you got, man? Anything to add before we get out of here for tonight?
I think I pretty much touched upon everything, and I can't wait for the previews next week. It's going to be a fun time.
Oh, yeah, it is, man. I mean, Alabama, are they going to continue to dominate? Is Clemson going to do it again in the ACC? Once again, will Alabama be able to do it again in the SEC? Will we get some kind of shakeup going on in the Big 12? Will the Big 10 continue to go through Ohio State? And, of course, in the Pac-12, will this be USC's year to really make it happen? Will there be any teams coming on out and making things, turning it on its head? Because all these great conferences, and if we have time, we're definitely going to be talking about the CUSA, the Conference USA, the AAC, the Mountain West. Oh, there's so many great conferences in college football. Like I said, if we have time, we're going to get more to those as well. Talking about this year, we're talking about, I couldn't get through one show without talking about Memphis and the really cool uniforms, Darren. I could not do that, man. I gotta bring them up for sure. But yeah, man, so we're really excited. No, tonight was a little watered down. Once again, our apologies, but it's just been a crazy day for me, a crazy week. As usual, I think all of you are sick and tired of me saying that pretty much every week, but I'm serious. Every week usually is. But at least we're trying to get our things going. But with that said, Taryn, we're going to get on out of here, brother. But before we are, man, where can these diehard fans find you? And, of course, all your great shows, your Twitter, everything you do, man. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Taryn Rodriguez1. That is T-E-R-A-N. Then last name Rodriguez has a G instead of a Q. And then the number 1. And then you can follow Set Point on Twitter at set_point.ie. And then you can follow the SoCal Supreme Sports Show at SoCal Show IESR on Twitter as well. So there's that.
There you go. Well, with that said, Taryn, I'll tell you what, brother. You just finished up the Olympics and everything, man, with Set Point. So if you love volleyball, women's volleyball, and college football run side by side, of course, in the fall. So Taryn's a busy guy, of course, year-round. But, man, he's got plenty to get into in the fall for sure. And we're just happy we got him and all the great things you do, man. So thanks again, brother, for all you do, man. We couldn't appreciate you enough.
Hey, thanks, Larry. I'm glad to be a part of the team, and I'm glad to be a part of the show. And we're going to kick some butt when it comes to talking some college football. And I can't wait.
We certainly are, brother. So with that said, you know what time it is, man. It's time to cue the music, because we're out of here, y'all. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for tonight's show. You can find me and my Larry B at Twitch. Of course, Paul Brown. One. Show them some love. You rock, by the way. Mr. Mike Pat. And the chat room, makes sure that everybody gets Mike Pat, Anytime, Brandon, makes sure show up. Show up to all their shows. Of course, next week we'll have a lot of fun stuff. Ready for that? So we got that coming up. Lots of football coming up next week. And just for all of the Texas here on 3 hours television right here on IE Sports Radio every Wednesday evening. Our usual time will be, of course, next week at 4 p.m. time. So Eastern, talking all the ball you want, showing you love. Big ups to our sponsors, by the way, SoCal Warriors. Of course, I'm telling you, those guards for us. So really excited for that man. And that 34 defense. And lined up against Scorpions this week, so let's go Warriors. And week number 1, the whole season. Of course, big ups to our buddy, Mr. Kip. Man, I'm sorry, Mr. Kip. But, yeah, man, gotta show some love to our other sponsors, background check www.bcim.com. And for all the employers out there, check out Mr. Kit Freeman. And, hey, if you check the background checks out there, give him a holler, show him some love, of course. And you can go background check guys. So with that said, we will see y'all next week. We appreciate you all so very much for doing this here tonight. We will see y'all next week. Until then, take care, and as always, God bless.